Alright, so day 2 of BookTube Week, and today I'm talking to you about The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. This isn't the original cover, but it's a pretty cool movie cover. It's from the film that stars Mia Farrow and Robert Redford. And back in the day, this was 35 pence was its recommended retail price. I paid more for that in the charity shop that I bought it in. Alright, so I wrote down my thoughts on this book as sort of an essay, so I'm pretty much going to be reading this for the entire thing. So I apologise if it looks like I'm reading. Also, my thoughts are a little bit surface. I'm only just getting back into the swing of trying to do light analysis. And this is very light analysis, and it's not going to be anything major. I'm going to start off with a review, then go more analytical towards the end. Alright, so here's my review. Despite its brevity, this Penguin edition not even reaching 200 pages, The Great Gatsby is a giant in the world of great American classics. It is the quintessential story of the American dream and a damning judgment on the greedy and the rich. It's narrated in the past tense by our protagonist Nick Carraway, who moves into a small house in West Egg in order to work in the city as a stockbroker. He soon discovers that his neighbour is none other than one J. Gatsby, an extraordinarily rich man who throws elaborate and grand parties at his mansion every weekend, to which hundreds of people attend. We later learn that these parties are only thrown to attract one person, a woman who lives across the bay in East Egg, Nick's cousin, Daisy Buchanan, whom he had been in a relationship with briefly before the war. This book is a pretty great read. Its short length allows you to consume it in a relatively brief amount of time. However, its message and implications stay with you long after finishing. It's a story of extremely rich people, most of which are vulgar and dislikable, experiencing the American dream firsthand. It explores the themes of love, obsession, greed, and above all, blinding nostalgia for the past. It has wit, but also dreadful tragedy, and I feel it's one of those must-read books. The book is packed to the brim with metaphors and symbols, some obvious, some a little bit more obscure. For example, the Valley of Ashes that lies between the glamour of West and East Egg and the city is an obvious symbol for the inequality between the rich and the poor. As they build grander houses, buy more polo horses, cars, planes, the poor who provide these things get nothing. The contrast between the luxury and light calm of white linen curtains blowing in the wind through enormous windows into a lavish lounge, and the dark, hard, cold mountains of ashes, which in themselves have death connotations, is blatant. The clean and the dirty. All the while the eyes of Dr. T.J. Eckelberg that look out of no face watch over it, judging not the poor but the rich who simply pass it by. Almost no rich character in this novel is sympathetic, except to a certain extent Gatsby himself. Fitzgerald, or rather Nick, uses florid lyrical language while describing him, hiding his greed and vulgarity behind a smile that concentrated you with such an irresistible prejudice in your favour. Gatsby is presented as a story, not a man. He is a poem, a play, a creation. He is in many ways the embodiment of the American dream, quite literally a self-made man. But throughout the novel we learn more about him, and as we do so, he becomes less and less remarkable, less great. And it leads the reader to question whether Gatsby really was that great in the first place. In many ways he is astonishing, building his way up the social circle from a young age, becoming rich, well known and admired, but at the same time one remembers the money was gained from bootlegging. It was all illegal, made under false pretenses. When Gatsby is describing falling in love with Daisy, it is hard to tell whether it was her or her wealth he admired so. He's selfish and greedy and shown constantly in his mission to repeat the past, which he seems to hold so dear. He doesn't think it enough for Daisy to simply love him. He wants Daisy to have never loved Tom. He literally wants the years since they separated to disappear. As he says in the novel, "I'm going to fix everything just the way it was before." They say money won't make you happy, and despite his delusions, this is no more true than it is for Gatsby. He is a man who has everything except the one thing he wants: Daisy, and his utter commitment to get her comes across as somewhat pathetic. He throws huge parties across the bay in the hope that she will stroll in. He utterly fills Nick's house with flowers in an attempt to impress her. He's a little child jumping up and down, screaming, "Look at me, Daisy, look at me, look at me." He's going as far as taking the blame for running over someone in order to save Daisy's name, in the hope that he will throw herself in his arms as thanks. His utter devotion to her is apparent in the last chapters of the book after his death. The house that was once alight with music, dancing and people now lay empty and dark. Nobody attends his funeral except his father, who he hadn't seen for many years, and Nick. We learn that despite having many old sports, Gatsby was in the end alone and small. Have you read this book? What did you think of this book? Did you enjoy this book? Gatsby wants to know. Tell me down below. Oh, that was good. As you may be perfectly aware, today is not Tuesday, today is Wednesday. Well, I'll tell you why I'm uploading my Tuesday video on Wednesday. I'm also uploading my other video, my Wednesday video. I'm going to be in the same clothes. I warn you in my next video, because it's the same day. Shh. I'm uploading this on the Wednesday rather than the Tuesday, mainly because I did film this video yesterday, but I filmed it very late, the lighting was terrible, and I looked terrible after I'd had a long day of doing stuff. So as a result, I look utterly hideous and horrific, and you don't want to see me in that video. So I decided not to upload it, and I'm going to upload this version instead. Alright, I'll see you later for some tags.